Toby from Heavyweight MMA. Today again with MMA fighter Colby Thicknesse, talking about UFC 269, December 12th, a couple of fights. We're going to talk about Raulian Paiva versus Sean O'Malley and Kai Kara-France versus Cody Garbrandt. Also, if anyone online wants to have a chat or wants to write any comments, please do. Negative or positive, write some comments. We want to hear them. And what are your comments on this fight? Plenty negative, only negative. If you want, feel free to roast Colby anytime. Colby, what comments do you have on these fights?
Oh, man, I got to say my excitement level for Kai and Garbrandt probably, even though it's a sucked card, that's probably honestly the fight I'm most keen for out of all of them, to be honest. I just think, like, stylistically, I think it's just a guaranteed banger, and it's really going to show Kai's potential in the division. So I'm super excited for that. And then Sean O'Malley is just like, I think we're just going to expect another sort of, we know what we get with Sean O'Malley. We get all the flashiness and that. So you got to be looking forward to both of these fights. Yeah,
man. I've watched Kai for a long time. He actually fought over this way when he was only a youngster. You know, he fought here about 11 or 12 years ago. And watching him, his style's completely like morphed and changed. And yeah, it's quite incredible to see his rise. So I'm kind of nervous for this one, actually, because this is obviously the biggest test of his career, the most high profile name, I would say, that he's fought, right?
Oh, easily, by far. Obviously, Kai's been in there. Only other guy to be up there would be Brendan Moreno, who is now the current champ. But then again, that sort of fight didn't play out in his favor. And I think at this stage, Garbrandt has more hype and more of a following than Moreno did when Kai Moreno fought. Like, if Kai Moreno fought now, it'd be massive. But because they fought back on the first Usman and Colby card when Volko fought Holloway the first time, there wasn't as much hype around, sort of thing. But now, an ex-champ dropping down from 135 to 125, it's going to be big.
I know, I get this weird sort of feeling when I think of Garbrandt. I kind of feel like he's kind of past his prime and headed on the way out. I don't know why, because he's such a young guy, but that's just what it kind of feels like. He went up to the top and he just seems to be going downhill. He had a few KO losses. His last fight, he got done as well, right? His last fight, he fought last week. I can't think who it was, but he lost his last fight.
I was there live, actually. I saw that at the Apex, yeah.
Yeah, he lost against Rob Font, and he looked good in it, and he had his points in it. That he landed some big ass punches and that, but he just feel the feeling that he's going down while Kai's maybe going up. It's kind of interesting intersection that these two guys coming together, you know. But to be honest, I am a bit worried for Kai because Cody Garbrandt obviously is a good boxer. You know, he had a lot of amateur fights. Apparently, I can't remember how many. It's like in the 30s of amateur boxing, and it really shows. Like, that's his strength. And then you add on a bit of a wrestling background as well. I think he was Division II wrestler. So, you know, he's a pretty solid opponent to be fighting, right?
Yeah, spot on. And I think what you said about his trajectory is true. Like, it was he came through the UFC like this, and then he fought Cruz. And that performance against Cruz is probably one of the best title fight performances from any fighter ever, sort of thing. Like, I don't know anyone who really, before hindsight, sort of saw the fight playing out that way. I think they thought Cody might be able to clip Cruz and get him out there. Cruz is going to school him. Nobody saw Cody dropping Cruz and schooling him. But like you said, after that, he just had a steady decline. Obviously, he's got the Sunset knockout, which was quite impressive. But he's won from 4. What is it? Yeah, he's 1-3 in his last 4. So it's obviously. It's actually 1-4. That's worse. Yeah, because he had the Rob Font loss. And
I think it's 1-5, actually. I think he won in 5 for his last 5 fights, whereas Kai's won 3 of his last 5.
Yeah. So then, what's it called? When Rob Font was there, Garbrandt had success when he was coming off his jab. But Rob Font just had that laser beam jab, and he just picked him apart with it. Cody did what I saw live was Cody saw initiative to take down, and he took him down. I'm pretty sure it was in the first or the second. I can't remember completely, but all I remember is seeing Cody stand up after the grappling exchanges, and he was cooked, man. Like, his gas tank, from what you see out of a 5-round fighter, his gas tank was not where it should be out of grappling. Probably because he isn't used to them sort of high-level, sort of hard grappling exchanges. It was just trying to hold Font down. And I think that's going to play into Kai's strength, because also Kai's very scrambly and he has a good gas tank. but also Cody caught a lot of people with his speed at 135. He's a hard hitter, but it's also his timing and his speed. But dropping down, I don't think he's going to have the speed advantage. He's still going to be a very fast hitter, but I think it's going to be a sort of even playing field where he always had the speed advantage up in the bantamweight division because he was smaller, that bit lighter, his hand speed was quicker. But dropping down, the first thing that's going to not go, the first thing that's going to even out is his speed, and I think that's going to play into Kai's favor.
Yeah, it seems to be a common thread in the things we've been talking about, but I feel like the later it goes into the fight, I think Kai has more of a chance from exactly what you said, especially if he can mix it up a bit and have Cody start to lose the sting on those punches, because he's such a dangerous puncher, especially in the first part of that fight. If you can take the sting off the punches, just like in that fight we were just talking about, then there's a chance that Kai can then start to take over a little bit.
Yeah, spot on. Like we all know, how many of do they have? Yeah, most of Garbrandt's knockouts are within the first 2 rounds. So obviously it's a 3-round fight, but then Kai is a very sort of defensively. He's very defensively sound too, and he's very tough. Like we've seen him take big shots from Moreno. He's fought a lot of sort of heavy hitters of the division, and he's not the type of guy that are going to sort of one hit. So I think his defense will be on the money. And I think his speed will actually surprise Garbrandt.
Yeah, I hope so. And did you see Kai's last fight with, I think his name is Bontarin or something like that? Just an incredible comeback. He was doing on the back end of the grappling exchange. The guy was trying to choke him out for nearly the whole round. He got a bit of distance, started landing bombs, landed overhand, uppercut overhand, just like face planted him into the canvas. It was a beautiful finish, man.
Yeah, that was wicked because I remember watching that live, and I think did Kai have his back taken for like a good minute or so or something? I was like,
yeah, nearly the whole fight. It was defending the submission attempts nearly the whole round. Yeah.
And then you could just see him. He stood up and he legit turned it around in 20 seconds. He just started landing, and then boom, the overhand, the hooks, and yeah, that was a sort of very good showing for him. Before that, he obviously got subbed by Brendan Royal, which sort of he got caught, I think, with that one, which was unlucky. He beat Nam, and then after that, his last loss was Brendan Moreno. And before that, he was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8-fight win streak. There's no shame losing to Moreno. He's one of the best, and getting caught in a Brendan Royal guillotine is sort of obviously it's not great that it happened, but I don't think it's going to translate to really worrying factor in this fight.
That Royval fight, wasn't that the one where he dropped him, then rushed in and he got hit with a spinning elbow, and that was what put him in a bad state. Yeah. So otherwise he looked like on the way to take him out. It was just a very great timing for Royval and bad timing for Kai.
Yes, spot on. And even in the Moreno fight, which he lost, he didn't necessarily lose it by a big margin. The biggest thing was that I think Moreno's shots just hurt Kai more. So I think it was pretty even in the strike. Moreno had a little advantage, but I think the biggest thing was just sort of like the damage and the impact, because they were both landing shots, but Moreno just had that bit more pop.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on what are your prediction for this fight, man?
Man, it's hard to say because I think Cody's going to start fast and it's dangerous, and it's 3 rounds. Obviously, I'm going to have to back for Anzac, but I think Kai's going to tough it out. I think he's going to survive the first, and I think he's going to slowly take over in the second, third. So I'm going to go Kai by decision.
Yeah, I've got the same sort of feeling. I'm kind of hoping somehow that Cody dropping too much weight takes a bit of water out of his brain, and Kai lands one of his big overhands and puts him out, which is always a chance for either of them at this level. You know, they're both big punches, so they can both land something. They can both hurt each other. So there's a chance of someone dropping someone. You'd probably swing towards Cody in the first if it does happen, but then as the fight moves on, let's hope that Kai takes over and, you know, shows that he's the next one to move up the division and take over as Cody Garbrandt's moving down. And I'm wearing my Kai Kara-France shirt too here. Don't blink, Kara-France.
Nice.
So beautiful. I have to say Kai's going to win, so I can't say the other one anyway. So bad luck. Kai's going to win by decision, or maybe one of these guys will get a knockout. Let's see.
Yeah.
Man, what are your thoughts? The other fight, so Raulian Paiva versus Sean O'Malley. It's a pretty exciting fight. Every time Sean comes in, it's kind of exciting, right? He's got a dynamic striking style. He's interesting to watch. He's a bit of a personality. People love him and hate him. You know, I like to watch him. I like his personality too. I think he's all right.
Yeah, it's definitely Sean O'Malley is one of the guys, like, love him, hate him. He's sort of one of them guys you're always gonna tune in to watch just to see sort of like the spectacle that's about with his fight and that sort of thing. As for how the actual fight plays out, I think it's I think it's a tough test for Sean, but I still think it's a sort of more favorable matchup. Like at this stage in his career, I would want to sort of see him fighting more of a top 15 sort of guys. However, I did say with his current contract, he doesn't want to fight the ranked guys until his pay does go up, which is obviously fair play to the bloke. Like, there's no point in fighting killers where you get paid exactly the same when you could just fight sort of guys around your level sort of thing.
I heard someone saying that, man, but I think Paiva is actually ranked. I think he's ranked.
What is he, 14, 15 maybe?
Yeah, he's up in he's ranked where Sean O'Malley's not. So I think it's not that bad of a move for him. And this is a big test for him. You know, Sean O'Malley, you'll watch his fights. He's got guys, even Almeida and that, they kind of stand away from him. They're just kind of waiting for him. They're like kind of moving punching bags, his last couple of opponents. Paiva, although seems a little bit chinny, like he gets dropped a little bit here and there, he's got so much heart and he's got so much grappling potential compared to Sean O'Malley. I think this is a very tough one for him, you know. I'm kind of interested in the matchup.
Yeah, I'm just having a look.
So looking at O'Malley, of course, he's a killer when he's standing and he's got the range, you know. So he's standing at a distance. People are not rushing in on him. He looks amazing when someone's just dancing out of range and he can just use his range because he's such a tall, skinny guy, you know. And he's got that mad KO power, great feints, explosiveness, a variety of kicks and everything. But he's got someone ahead of him that's a dog, you know, like he's fighting a dog. And from what we see, I don't want to insult like a professional MMA fighter, but Sean O'Malley doesn't have the same dog in him from what I see as Paiva has. You see him in that fight when he hurt his ankle. I know it's very hard, it's easy to say from looking from the outside, but you know, he didn't, if you compare him to Jimmy Crute, he didn't have the same reaction Jimmy Crute had. Jimmy Crute wanted to get in and fight, didn't care, his ankles folding. He didn't want to stop. He took the guy down a couple of times. When you compare it to O'Malley hurt his leg. What did he do? He kind of backed up and then fell on the ground and let himself get knocked out. It's a very different sort of feeling, you know, and I feel like you watch Paiva, he just doesn't stop. He gets smashed. He just keeps going. He's a scrambler, you know, he just keeps coming in. His striking is not extraordinary. He's a high-level grappler, but his striking is extraordinary. He just walks through punches and delivers them more, and he gets stronger as the fight goes on. You know, he's a dog. So I just think that's like, he might be the answer to, or he might be the kryptonite for Sean O'Malley, you know?
Yeah, I just had a look then. I remember him at his and Kai's fight, actually, which he lost by a split decision. And yeah, and like you said, he does have that dog and his that real monger in him. And that's the sort of thing you need against a guy like Sean O'Malley. Like O'Malley's last opponent, like he just stood at range. He let O'Malley walk, play his game, drew into the fakes, and he just ended up walking up with a guard like this to get him pieced apart, which you can't do against him sort of thing. So I think this is actually, yeah, now having a look at it, I've sort of got more familiar. I think it's going to be a harder test than I initially thought for Sean. I still think will depends if Sean can sort of get in his head and have that sort of effect, because a guy like Sean, he can sort of make you with the feints and the looks and everything. He can sort of get you into that false sense of security that he's out of range and then boom, a spin kick comes. He's a very good sort of sniper where he sets traps, he fires down straight lines, big spin kicks, good front teep kicks and stuff like that. So it is dangerous, but I think the boys are going to be in for a fight.
Yeah, and this Paiva fought Kyler Phillips, so I believe he's from the same gym. I know he's trained with O'Malley before. With Kyler Phillips, they had a lot of grappling between Kyler and Paiva in their fight. And I know Paiva's a black belt jiu-jitsu player. Kyler Phillips is a brown belt. There was a lot of exchanges. Kyler seemed to be a little bit stronger in the grapple, you would say, in that fight. But Sean O'Malley, I don't think he'd be anywhere near those guys' level when it comes to grappling. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking that, you know, a scrambler, if he can get past these this reach advantage and get in past these amazing, powerful punches and long range kicks and everything that O'Malley has, I think he's got a good chance of just dominating him if he can get into the clinch and take him to the ground. So I don't know. I'm a big O'Malley fan actually, but I just feel like sometimes it'd be good to see a dog get up. And I think this guy's got the mentality and the grappling skills to take it to O'Malley more than people think. Like at the moment, O'Malley's a favorite, But yeah, I'm just making an odd prediction that I think he's going to catch a leg or something, take him down and submit him. This is my feeling about, getting a dog in a fight with someone that likes the range and likes to sit back and do flashy attacks,
Yeah, I think you make a very good point, because you look at was it Chris Munoz, O'Malley's last fight, or however you pronounce it?
Yeah, I think so.
But even then, he was getting bashed, but purely because of the fact that he was staying in there, willing to cop a shot and throw a shot back. He was actually tagging John. Obviously, he never had him in big danger or anything like that, but he was more than willing to cop one, throw two back, and he might land one. And towards the second and third, before it got stopped, he was actually starting to catch Sean over different punches. Obviously, he never had him in danger, had him rocked or anything like that, but it is showing that there are chinks in O'Malley's armor. And like you said, I think it's going to be the big difference is if O'Malley can keep his range, keep that sort of danger zone. As soon as he does try to come into that grappling exchange, throw a fake, throw a different look, throw an attack or something, he needs to keep it mixing up, stick on the outside and be a sniper, because otherwise we have seen, perfect example, Cheeto Vera, even though O'Malley's obviously his ankle and that had an issue, Cheeto Vera was in his guard for about 3 seconds before he started raining out elbows and finishing him, sort of thing. Like, we know, even though he might have some slick jiu-jitsu and that, if you can get him on the back foot, get him tight, put some pressure on him, and that's where we can see him start to crumble.
Yeah, man. So on that note, I've already said what I think is going to happen. What do you think is going to happen? What's your prediction?
Closer than I initially thought, but still, I think I'm going to go with the O'Malley hype train, and I think I'm going to go via a second round KO.
Cool. All right, bro. Thanks for your opinions again, and we'll see what happens.
No worries, mate.